This is Baruch Fleischman here, and you know that you could find me here at the Tikkun Elevator Kollel, and that's where we're going today, to Parshas Amor in the Zohar. Now I see that in the panoply of all the things that people listen to, there's not everybody, is not a lot of people are listening to these Parshas Zohars. But I think they're really important, the flavor of this. I'd like to be able to do a lot more of it. But let's see what we could do today. We're on page Tov Vav in the Matok Medevash. It's Parshas Amor, and let's see what the Zohar says. First we read the Zohar, try to translate it, and then we lead to the Matok Medevash and bring the whole thing to Shlemus. Tochazi, the Zohar says, come and see. The Bar Nash Koi Lemechach Bahahu Lahahu Alma, when a person is in a position where he's about to leave this world. In other words, going to go to the next world. And he's in the hospital. He's in the place of his illness. At that moment, when he's on the border between the interface between this world and the next world, that soul we're talking about, 3 emissaries come to him. And they see the Chome Taman, they see there, or the soul of the person who's dying sees what he's not able to see when he's in this world. That day where you're about to leave the world is the day of the high din. The Malkul boy the big delay, because the king now wants his deposit back. He deposited his soul in your body. The Bigdone Asiv the Malka Kama the Isyahiv Lebegave. So happy is the person, and the lot of that person. It says where that deposit, that picado, that is still sitting there, that was given and placed in there by the king, it's still in the same condition, Kama the Isyahiv Lebegave, that was originally untarnished, the way that it was given to him. But let's say that it happened that the person went the wrong way sometimes. And I think that we want to say, and let's not kid around, the Zohar is always talking about sexual averas. There are lots of different kinds of averas. There's stealing, and there's just, we don't need to go into the list. But at the root of it all is the taivas, what the rabbis call taivas niyuf, the desire to have sex with someone else's wife or someone else's husband. So he says that doesn't happen to that soul, or did not happen. That person didn't go that way. It is possible that we judge, the judgment at this point is whether or not the person is returning the soul in purity, or that it became corrupted with the corruption of the body. So then, if the person did in fact make the terrible mistakes that one makes in his life, he says, what is he going to say now to his master? Now let's read the Matok Medevash. Let's come over here. We'll bring it down a little bit lower so we can see it's a smaller print. Make some room for ourselves here. We're going to move this up like this. And the Matok Medevash says like this: Kan ba levayir kama tamim iser halonas ames. Now he really wants to talk about, and the way that this Zohar has been talking about is in Parshas Amor it speaks about a Cohen who should not be mitam ames. So he says, why couldn't he learn that from other places? Because there are other places that talks about this, but specifically for the Cohen, it's particularly important. Come and see. When a person is standing in the position where he's about to go into the upper world, in other words, he'll leave his body. His soul will leave his body. This is the time when the nefesh is going to leave the body. And the person he is in the hospital or in his deathbed. So he said, Boyim alav gimel shalichim. So now come before that person 3 different emissaries. Shem gimel malachim dainim. There were 3 malachim. They are judges. Now you see in other places in the Zohar that we see the number 3 refers to the 3 lines, the lines of balance, right, left, and center. So the question is, which side will they go on? Will they stay in the middle? Will they go to the right and for kindness? Or will they be to the left where there's going to be terrible din? All of these are malachim of din. Now a person begins to see what he's not able to see when he's in this world. Because now he's in the interface between this world and the next. This is the day of the upper din. That the king, Hashem Bizbarach, may his name be blessed, as pigdonim, he's now seeking for the return of the deposit of his energy, the Ein Sof Baruch Hu, or the soul, the neshama. He wants it back. The Hailach as the neshama shehikbid biyad adam, he's talking about the neshama that he deposited in the man. Ashrei ha'isha hu shemachzer as a pikadim lo melech baruch hu, happy is the person who returns that deposit back to the Kodesh Baruch Hu, naki, clean, pure, kamo sheniten lo below chet avon, like it was given to him that had no chet associated with it, no avon, no abomination. Amale Torah of mitzvahs, but rather the person is full of Torah and full of mitzvahs. He says, aval, but if the person he made himself unclean, what's the tenufa is I haven't got a good word yet, but he made himself clean. He made himself filthy with the filth of his body, the tivus of his body. Was he going to answer? What's he going to say to the master who's asking for his soul back? When he starts to ask for, bring me my soul back. Lama tanef as a pikadim, and he'll say this, why did you choose to let your tivus go and to make yourself unclean as a result of that? Shehufkod biyado, that soul that was listed and given and deposited, that's the right word, in you. This is Baruch Fleischman, and that's the shir, the beginning shir, and we'll try to keep going with this for this week of Parshas Amor.